3, 2, 1, lock it.
Welcome back, episode 5. Harold is here for the sequel. He was in the last episode. Yeah, it's good to have you back, man.
Nah, man, thanks for having me on, and I appreciate it.
Obviously, went to high school with my man. We go way back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and here we are, 2 years later.
Fills the part.
So Harold wants to go Liverpool. Same with Mr. Wardle over there.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could drop into topic of conversation today.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if I feel it's due, I'll drop it in.
Yeah, if it's necessary. You know, you're a subject of business and PE, if I'm correct.
You're correct.
Geography.
And geography.
As we've covered.
Which both link to economics.
Yeah, it really can easily.
Yeah. Wait,
It's a bit of a synoptic link, you could say.
How do they link though?
There's many positive
You've
aspects.
got human geography,
Okay.
like urbanisation, globalisation, like
Deindustrialization.
And then physical geography. How does it?
not physical.
Physical, I wouldn't say as much
Maybe.
as much the human
Would not
aspect.
say resources.
Yeah, human geography.
Would you not say resources like land and capital is?
Well, maybe
That's
maybe like global warming hazards, increased frequency of hazards that form as a result of global warming.
Yeah, you could also, and then you could just link that to the seasonal impacts to some businesses. So in the winter, for example, ice cream decreases in sales, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Due to
Well said.
I also think that's psychology insane, and you've mentioned this to me before. SAD, seasonal summit depression.
associated disorder, seasonal associated.
You've said I mean, we're all feeling it at the minute. February. It's rained every fucking day this year.
Yeah.
Apart from today, oh no, as even today.
It rained today.
Earlier today, I was positive in it when we were at the gym.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was nice.
we're just gonna add a montage. You'll probably see the gym somewhere in here.
Yeah, actually.
La vida es un carrusel. La vida es un
Chest day.
But yeah, like at the gym, like you said, the benefit of the just sunny weather, really, I felt like we had a better session, a more productive session.
100%.
100%.
But going back to that thing of linking geography and economics, you said human and you said physical.
So they can both link.
I didn't really not so much physical.
Not so much physical, but you can if you really go.
I mean, that human side of geography.
Okay. So let's go off. Let's say I was an exam and I'm a 20. What's the most marks you get in a geography paper?
Most highest marker, yeah, 20.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should understand.
It's all good. If I was a 20 marker, what would you want me to be?
I'm more of a human guy, so human geography.
I did better. Did you do better in human?
Yeah, I did better in human. I actually got an A in that paper, and then I got a C in physical.
For that game.
Well, I think that's better than me.
And it just brought me down to a B, which I was a bit disappointed. But if I up my physical game, then really.
Okay, so let's say I'm a physical question.
Human.
Human.
Sorry.
I don't know what questions you can ask nowadays.
So, if I was a human question,
Urban regeneration schemes.
yeah, I would want an urban regeneration
That
scheme.
links to economics. You think about like Leeds dock regeneration, situ, sustainable housing developments.
Yeah.
What else?
100%.
Regeneration schemes.
Yeah, regeneration schemes. I mean,
it's
there's
actually
so many I can list off the top of my head, but if I was to really dive deep into one, I mean, Leeds has had several regeneration schemes. Like you listed a couple there, but
Leeds dock. Do you want to talk about that?
yeah, I mean, I could go into Leeds dock a bit. I mean, they've spent, if I remember correctly, I think they spent around 300 mil in private investment into developing.
250 to 350 million.
Yeah, so I'm just going to round
Like
it
in
to
that
three.
range.
In that range.
Of private funds, private investment.
Exactly.
That was supported by the local government, council.
Furthermore, the local government, they actually invested, well, not invested, but they gave businesses that were investing in the Leeds Dock area, they gave them tax deductions.
Tax deductions.
So that leads to financial benefits for them. And just overall, you could speak about multiplier effect.
Yeah, I mean, Leeds Dock is really just an example of the multiplier effect. Like, think of how many jobs it created from like a derelict area to
Exactly.
like a service financial.
High crime rates as well in the area when it was at its lowest point, and see how far it's regenerated. It's just
Yeah, now it's like a wealthy, like affluent area. You know, it's got lots of residential properties as well.
yeah, residential properties.
Right.
Let me ask you this. What are your opinions on York?
Yeah,
I think it's quite.
I mean, I went there today. To be fair,
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? Where did you go? Sorry.
just went to this bar. I can't remember its name, but I just had a mooch round, and it was quite old, like old-fashioned kind of
it is
thing.
very old-fashioned.
I wouldn't say run down. That's not the correct word. The
I
correct
think
terminology.
it's just an area which hasn't had significant investment.
Well, let me stop you there.
It has had a bit of investment, but I'd say rather than investing in upgrading property and making more like future, like looking a bit more futuristic, yeah, they've more refurbished and keep the old-fashioned look of the town.
Okay, well, it says here, the City of York Council has approved a 5-year capital programme in January 2026, totalling approximately 442 million aimed at infrastructure and city improvement.
Sorry, lads. Sorry.
In York. In York. So that about the multiplier effect. This is, it suggests that New York prospectus covering housing, innovation and transport has the potential to generate £12.1 billion.
12.1
In the
billion.
next 5 years.
Man, that is.
So I'm saying if we're like saying York's shit, I mean I've heard a few people say York's a good night out, but like, I don't really believe them.
I mean, I'd love to go and try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Seems elite, but in the next 5 years it will be a good place because what did you say? A couple hundred million. for the next-
yeah, that's just private investment as well. It was
300 million.
300.
300.
Yeah.
York's got 450 coming
Wow.
over the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very nice town. Like, it was pretty busy, and I was there on Monday evening.
Yeah.
So-
well, it was the capital city, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
Wow.
Like, let's have a look.
York was the capital city of England. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I thought it was London.
Yeah, it is now.
No, I thought it was always London.
It was the capital of Viking Jorvik in the 9th to 10th century. Was Roman Britannia Inferior in 207 to 211 AD. So King
like,
Edward
yeah.
I moved his government to York for several years, around 1298 to 1304, during the Scottish campaigns.
Shit, so that's a flashback.
So that's like
in the
time
past.
ago, but like
That's probably why it's
it's
in medieval. That's
Yeah.
why it was a couple. They're probably like.
It did give off a bit
They're
of
probably
Viking vibes, to be
Yeah.
fair.
and that's where like the
You know what it gave? A bit of Game of Thrones vibes.
Perhaps again. I've heard that now.
I actually finished it as well.
Oh yeah.
Mate, bro, that ending, Jesus Christ, it was underwhelming.
Yeah.
To be, as a matter of fact, it was underwhelming.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin it for the viewers, so I won't go into depths because, I mean, all I can say to you guys is if you're wanting a TV series that will just it'll keep you on the hook the whole time, and it'll be one of them where you'll finish the episode and you'll want to watch one, even though you need to go to bed, you want to watch one.
Yeah.
And
Now Breaking Bad as well. So.
lad, you won't understand.
Breaking Bad's much better.
No,
I haven't even
don't-
finished that series.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, you can't knock it until
Dan,
you try
Dan
it.
always says, "Oh, Game of Thrones sounds shit." Watch it then. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't fucking.
Don't knock it till you try it. That's all I can say, and that's facts.
Yeah.
Well, lads, I feel like we're going off on a bit of a tangent here.
Sorry.
We'll pull it back to York. We won't fully pull it back to the geography chat.
Yeah.
We'll just pull it back to York and saying that.
Do you want to add any economic things onto York, just like
Yeah, well, when we're chatting
Well, yeah,
infrastructure,
multiplier effect, more jobs, more income, more spending, boost the local economy.
yeah.
We'll also have people probably commuting into York with like
well, the train
with
stations could be a
like
massive,
infrastructure. Yeah,
Yeah, the train stations could
people
blow
can
up.
be commuting away from York as well to like work in Leeds, for example. Bringing income back to that area, spending locally, boosting the local economy.
Facts.
I'm sure they already do. Like,
I mean,
York
also,
to Leeds is like
yeah,
20 minutes,
with
but-
improved infrastructure.
yeah, it'd be
that
probably
would
10 minutes.
can I just also add? I've noticed a bit of inflation in York as I bought a round of drinks.
Yeah.
I think it was a pina colada and a pint of red stripe, 16 quid.
What? She was having the pina colada, you're
Nah, I was having the pina colada. She was having the red stripe.
Well, jokes. No, I'm red stripe as a choice.
Yeah, the
That's
red
it.
stripe's actually.
Was
When
that-
you see it on the draft, you're like, oh, go on then, because you don't get it frequently, do you? You don't.
Well, just to go off on another tangent then, top 5 draft, like your draft of drafts.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like your
So, wait, so
starting five,
yeah,
your
on
point
draft,
guard,
not in the
your
bottle.
shooting
Or
guard.
so point guard, one in Asahi.
Yeah,
I mean, it's impossible not to have it on there.
he's like 6'7".
Yeah,
Like,
no, yeah, he's a
he can
6'7"
do-
point guard,
yeah, and he can do
versatile.
it.
He can do everything.
Yeah,
Shooting guard, red stripe.
yeah.
Would you
Uh,
not say Cruz Campo?
I'm getting to them.
You
Trust.
said top 5.
Yeah,
I'm saying
small forward, Cruz Campo,
Cruz Campo.
Guinness on
And centre.
the power
Corona.
forward or
You
centre.
said Corona.
No, Corona on draft is in a
Yeah,
bottle.
yeah.
It's a different story.
It's different ball game.
So we just what is everyone in agreement with them?
3v3 on
I'd
the
agree,
game,
I'd agree.
like in a bottle, but like yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'd have to say like
I think I'm just missing one here because
yeah,
I mean I've got Asahi, Red Stripe, Cruz, Guinness.
yeah,
So in that last spot, I could just go for like a Moretti or something
Yeah.
like that, but I feel like
it's a bit
there's
cliche.
better ones out there
Yeah,
than a Moretti,
yeah.
and I'm just thinking
Could I add in a bit of a tropical choice?
you could.
You might not know this off the bat. It's Sicilian.
Ooh, I don't. Wait, ooh, hits me.
Birra Massina.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've seen that.
Mm.
I've
It's
got.
made with sea salt.
There's
I'll pull up a clip of me and Alex drinking it at the bar, but oh my god, I've actually never had a bad beer in my life.
Yeah, I mean,
It's one of them, yeah.
Wait,
Well,
what's the
it's-
packaging? What's the packaging?
It's
Oh,
like
yellow.
it's like blue and yellow, yeah.
Blue and yellow. I think I might have had that one.
Oh,
it's like
shit.
pretty sweet. Like.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
salty.
Yeah. I think
there's a similar beer like that in Spain where my grandparents have a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Estrella de Levante.
Ooh,
Estrella de Levante.
Yeah, so instead of just in England, we just get Estrella. I think it's
Estrella.
Garcia or something like that, which is the red one.
might I ask where are your grandparents from in Spain? Or they just live-
Well, no, they're not from Spain. They're actually from Malta.
Okay.
But they just have a house in southern Spain.
What's GDP like in Malta?
I couldn't tell you in Malta, but I could tell you southern Spain.
Yeah.
Like compared to places in England, it's so much further in the past. Like
Really?
I won't say everywhere, but parts are quite dilapidated
Ooh,
and in real need of regeneration. And I said, I feel like they're the places that definitely need
Yeah.
regenerating because they're so much better than the places that. Imagine you made like York or Leeds on the Spanish coast.
Yeah.
Imagine how much.
Well,
more-
is it
crazy,
because it's
yeah.
hotter in the south than the north? Because I'm guessing if it's southern, it's closer to the equator.
I feel like
So
in
it's hotter.
Spain.
And
What, in the
temperature
UK?
is definitely like
Nah,
in the
but
UK.
Southern Spain. Southern Spain.
Yeah, because you have like cold Spain, which isn't.
it's
not
more
popular.
like Madrid and Barcelona.
I'd say so. Not Barcelona's kind of northeast.
Right.
But yeah,
And Madrid's probably a bit south, but it's not that near to the coast.
isn't
Yeah.
South Spain like near the equator?
Yeah, well,
That's
it's near.
probably why it's like probably like humid, lots of precipitation, like the Amazon rainforest, which is
How do you link Spain to the Amazon rainforest?
No, I'm saying that they're both close to the equator, so we have like
Yeah, but the Amazon
similar
rainforest
conditions.
on the equator.
In Spain, it's got a lot of like precipitation and like.
Yeah, because there was flooding
Does it?
not that long ago. There was some really bad flooding
Yeah,
in
South
Valencia.
Oh shit. So I imagined it more to be like a bit barren and not rain much.
In the summer, yeah,
Yeah.
but in the winter,
Oh.
because obviously the seasonal change
Yeah.
and
yeah.
precipitation patterns.
Seasonal change in demand for tourism. Tourism is a massive like inflow. It's like a
It's an injection into
Yeah,
certain
injection.
income.
so just like
Yeah.
And-
Definitely for that.
Yeah, that was good. And
economic growth, more money circulating around the economy. It's just like tourism is just like foreigners injecting it in. That's all.
yeah,
it is.
could I also just add, like, compare UK to Spain? I think the national income of Spain is much lower than the UK. I mean, you can fact check that.
Could be a crazy take. Could be a crazy
Really?
take.
Wait, can you
Spain-
repeat that?
I think that the national income of Spain is lower than the national income. The GDP per capita of Spain is lower than the GDP per capita of UK.
You're right. You're right.
So could you just give me some facts on?
Okay. So, the projected nominal GDP of the UK is 4.25 trillion,
Yeah.
compared to Spain's projected 2 trillion. So it's over double.
Yeah, exactly.
That's projected. What's it at right now?
So if we go for that projected
Okay.
fact,
GDP per capita in the UK is 60k. In Spain, it's 40k.
exactly. So that's a £20,000
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that's probably why some areas, I'd say more than England. Obviously, some areas in the UK or England, obviously are run down and a bit derelict.
Yeah.
But Spain, there's just so many more of them.
Run down.
Yeah, run down areas.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably the region where around my grandparents have got a house.
I mean, it's probably down in the rough, innit?
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's nicer to live in a bit more of a rustic and
Yeah.
like that traditional.
That's exactly what it is. It's such a great place to go. Like
But I
when I
think
it's a
retire,
nice place
it's a
to
place I want to go.
that's what I was going to say. Like, as a young person, you do want to be in the buzz of a developing city.
Yeah,
I feel like, or maybe not a city, but at least a town where new jobs are getting created.
yeah,
If you're going to retire, you want that kind of almost less of that noise.
quiet,
Yeah.
relaxed, chill.
Yeah, because if you're retired, why do you want to be in a place where people are getting employed
Yeah,
day
exactly.
by day? You know what I mean?
You want to be in like an isolate area.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot more older population rather than. So you can look at the
no,
variation in
it's-
population in, for example, southern Spain. It's much majority older people.
Yeah.
Compare it to like somewhere in England or a big city in Spain.
Leeds.
Yeah,
like
Leeds.
cities with lots of like students and like young people entering the workforce.
Yeah,
They'll have like completely different population pyramids.
Yeah, 100%.
that's a population pyramid.
No, that's
You know what I mean?
yeah,
You
I
know
know what you mean.
What, like with
So you've got like it's like brackets and it's like a certain shape.
Yeah, so
And like if it's a younger, it'll like go like thick.
if you
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
I'll just draw one out for you real quick.
Alright.
So it's kind of just a bit. Oh shit, pen. So
We'll get us up on
It's
plan
like
as well.
that.
I'm just gonna grab a glass of
Water.
I'll just draw it out for you. And let's say that's 100. That's 0. If a place obviously has more people, then more younger people, then it'll kind of go like that. The majority
Yeah, yeah,
would
yeah.
probably be in the middle, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So like, if it's a
Probably
high,
like 20 to 35.
yeah, and then it goes up. So like, if that would be the population period of a country that had more older people, and if you flip that on the side, and this part was longer, and there was less older people, then
One on the right's for like
old people, yeah, and then like,
but there's like young people.
yeah, I'd say young people.
'Cause young people commute out of like areas of low employment.
Yeah, that would be a population period for a younger area
Yeah.
with a young population, and that I really like that. The model, you just brought the model into it, which actually
We'll get like a one up on the.
when you're editing it. But yeah, so we could. I like that.
I
I
like
mean,
that chat.
if you were, if,
Spain's a lovely country. And
Yeah.
I know why. I do fucking rate it.
Yeah.
Ibiza, have you ever been there?
nah, I mean, I feel like the age, we can go back to the age demographic. I'd say it's more like 25 to
Yeah.
50-year-olds in Ibiza. You
Yeah.
it's kind of a more expensive,
100%.
one of them more expensive party locations, and I feel like 100% I'll go there one day.
Did I tell you the story of, I'm sure I have, of when me and my family went to Ibiza?
I'm pretty sure.
No.
So this is a good story. So, we're in this beautiful place.
Just set the scene. How old were you again?
15.
15. So young.
Yeah. My brother was 19 though.
Yeah. So
So, we're in this place called Ibiza Town. So, it was like nice old houses, but the strip was sick. And like, it was almost when we were going out for dinner, the couples and shit that were walking past, it looked like you say, 25 to 30-year-olds, fucking like multi-millionaires, just look like models. It's the dude's massive tanned fire hairline, just majestic, like.
start with the glaze.
I'm glazing.
Okay.
They're like penny watches on, and then their misses would just be 10-10,
Yeah.
like from head to toe. So, but with me and my brother, like, it's competition. You know what I mean? Like, it's very hostile environment to be going out and trying to pull.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
And so we're on the strip. Like, we've left my parents, going on the strip, and it would, like the promoters outside the bars and clubs and shit, they piss you off.
Yeah, they.
They're like top G's, come over here. Or
Yeah, because you're English and just
or the
you're not
girls
part
that
of
were
the
promoted.
specific clientele like that they expect.
Or the girls would be like, hey handsome boys, come have a shot with me, we'll get you tickets in. Anyway, so one did, and she was letting them, she caught my brother's eye, like, you want to be like, oh no, sorry, if the bar looks dead, you don't want to be dragged in.
Yeah, 100%.
But it was like a shisha lounge outside.
Oh shit.
Artificial grass, it was nice in there. So, she had good English, so obviously we're more attracted to go to where she's going. And she says, oh, I can sort you out free tickets to this club up the road. So we're like, yeah, sound. So we go in, she answers the menu, we're sat down by the shisha bar, and we're just chatting to her. She's like, where are you guys from? Then these two massive Spanish guys are like sat about there away from her, and they start speaking Spanish to her, but like shouting, quite aggressive. So she turns around and starts arguing back in Spanish. Then think nothing of it. She comes back out, I think give us another menu or something, and then he fucking gets up and like kicks her like that, and she flies forward. And he gets up and just like pushes her, and then another guy gets up, swings at him, tackles him into a shisha, smashes on the floor.
Shit.
Massive scrap in this shisha garden. We've been sat down like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Literally, as soon as we got in there. So we move out the way. I start trying to clip it. I'll probably pull up a bit. And the fucking Ibiza police come on quad bikes down the strip and like break everyone apart. So tough.
But you and your brother weren't involved.
We weren't involved, and the thing is, the most important part was we got the tickets. So the tickets we got given were to a place called Club Chennai.
Oh shit. We'll pull up a photo of that. Insert Club Chennai.
Very true. I mean, being a rational consumer, it's not like.
Yeah.
But is it rational? Like, if you're gonna go to Ibiza, you're gonna take a lot of money with you.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of them destinations you got to take a lot of money with you to enjoy. And you could link that to, it's quite a luxury market, luxury service. So, for example, in periods of economic decline,
Recession.
recessions, for example, then this will probably, the demand will decrease, won't it?
And these places would struggle.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
Because they rely so much on like tourism and like spending, consumer spending.
yeah, 100%. And then you just flip that on its head. If there's an inflation, then demand will increase to these bougie pie places.
Inflation.
Yeah,
Another
Rising.
thing I'd add to
Yeah.
that,
What like demand pull inflation?
Yeah,
It's
demand
like
pull.
when prices are high, they can
yeah,
like, raise prices.
yeah.
exactly. They make more of a profit. And
Another thing I'd add to that is when we're talking about like the role of financial institutions when it comes to a recession in a place like Ibiza, you don't have banks there. So, like in a time of an economic boom, when you've got demand pull inflation in places like Ibiza, they're going to benefit most from tourism. But let's say deflation or disinflation, or when you're starting to go into a recession, the UK is the place where that kind of growth is going to be held because of the service sector
yeah,
and the banks where everyone's money is kept. Because you're not
More
investing
saving.
your life savings into banks in Spain, are you?
No.
You're doing it in fucking HQ London of the
Yeah.
world.
yeah, and that just, you can also link that to the shift in sectors in time in the UK. So back in like the 1950s in the UK, we were predominantly a primary sector country because of all the coal mines,
Yeah,
the factories that were making the product,
Manufacturing.
exactly, the manufacturing plants,
mining, what else? We've got textiles.
coal
we've
mining,
got-
textiles,
Mm.
car manufacturing.
Yeah.
It's like steel stuff like
Yeah,
Steel.
you can link it to all of that, and then
Yeah.
gradually over time, and now we get to the present day where we're seeing the English, the majority of English businesses, obviously not all of them, but there's a larger number of tertiary sector businesses due to the increase in demand, and you can it just shows really the change over time.
And I'm gonna give an example of a tertiary business. I'm gonna link it back into what we were kind of shift it over back to Leeds. I'm gonna say Trinity.
Trinity,
We
yeah,
were-
my tertiary.
we were talking about Trinity earlier, and like Trinity is literally, as we said, an example of the multiplier effect. Like, think of how many massive businesses like Apple,
yeah.
Apple. What's the first place you go to in Trinity? Like,
probably Apple. Just like look at
Apple Store. I think all the food shops in
was it Everyman?
every
Everyman's so
Yeah.
fucking in Trinity.
yeah, every man, loads of food places.
Like, think about it. Trinity is just a full centre for tertiary sector businesses.
Did
Like,
you ever tax anything from that Primark?
nah, I don't think I did.
Nah,
I haven't lived, boys.
Oh, it's
shouldn't be admitting to that, bro.
well, digital footprint. Cut that out. Insert cut. But I know I'm linking it back, but when we're talking about the primary sector businesses that used to be booming back in the day,
Yeah.
in like the 1950s in England, you can also talk about football teams because they actually were made from these factories.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Everton, what's the nickname of Everton?
Toffees.
The Toffees. That is because it was made by people that worked at a toffee factory.
Nice.
And that, I mean, there's a couple other ones.
Hammers?
Exactly. Arsenal, why they're called the Gunners, because it was an ammunition factory that made the team.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about West Ham.
Maybe a ham factory.
It could be a ham factory, but that
Not hammers, I mean,
yeah, that is West Ham.
but hammer factory.
Yeah, it could be a hammer factory,
Yeah.
but I'm for sure know about Arsenal and Everton.
What are you saying? Like,
Wait, let's see.
it's an example of like cultures formed within a city.
Exactly. It just shows.
And like, think of how much.
And
like,
think of how much has changed to the present day, how much money is invested and
Yeah.
consumed in watching football and streaming, and how commercialized.
Yes, the hammers I got right. Sheffield United, the blades.
Yeah,
Scunthorpe, the iron.
There's so many from,
Yeah.
but it's just from
mean,
how much it
Luton-
changed.
Or when we go Luton, we've got to wear a hat.
Shout
Got
out to
one
Luton.
hot-
Shout out to Luton.
Top hats, yeah. Shout out to Luton. That's where we're at. We're getting our flight to Ibiza this summer.
Ibiza, Zan.
Zani. my
Zan.
bad.
Shit, that's gonna be sick.
Luton Town is named for the town's history of hat manufacturing. So we could wear a beret, we could wear a top hat, we could wear a flat cap,
Okay.
we could wear a skull cap, we could wear.
I ain't a hat guy. I've never unlocked a hat.
Neither really.
Never
Not
unlocked.
even a baseball cap on.
Never.
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 A hat at a festival.
No. The only time I've
Beanie
ever
on a fucking cold day.
beanie on a ski trip. That's the only time I've unlocked it.
Shit, man.
But I don't fuck with like a cap. I fuck with beanie.
Mate, you would. You would. If
Fuck Has back it. Mr. Wall, come on.
I've seen him in a top hat. He looked fucking good in a top hat.
He's one.
Yeah, I rock a top hat. I've rocked a like cowboy hat before.
Mm. Is it fedora?
Fedora, yeah, I've got a fedora. Yeah, I like a top hat. that's
Yeah,
for
but imagine not dressing up for a costume. You ain't gonna wear a hat, are you?
sure. I won't wear a top hat on like a normal occasion, but on a special occasion, I wear a top hat.
You can wear it on a, you would just wear it on a normal occasion.
No,
You will.
fucking wouldn't.
Wear one to school on Monday.
Yeah.
Next month. A suit and a top hat.
On that last Friday before we broke up for Christmas,
Yeah,
did you wear yours?
No, you didn't
Bro,
tell
I
me.
wore my top hat all day at school.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you wearing a full suit? What?
No.
Ah,
Christmas jumper.
Yeah.
alright, I rate that. Why didn't you wear Christmas suits?
To school, didn't have the bollock for it, mate.
Didn't you?
We were wearing it to the party, but
Yeah.
didn't have the
Yeah,
bollock thing.
insert photo.
Yeah.
Insert.
Yeah.
But yeah, should we just link it quickly? Just link this back to, so obviously talking about the football teams,
Yeah.
how they've come from factories, and then now looking to the present day, how much money has been invested into the football teams,
Yeah.
and how much they've grown,
Mm.
and how much the players are on nowadays. When back in the day they just played for the fun of it, and I feel like that's kind of let the game of football, it's made it go a little bit.
Mm.
Like it's just
100%.
becoming
Come on,
too
money
money
game.
driven.
Because when you say game's gone, where do you think it's gone? It's gone into oil companies' investments for fun. Like it's not even the football industry isn't, you're a like
No,
Saudi prince.
They've become investments, haven't they?
But it's not an investment for like maximizing profitability. It's an investment for you to go watch the
Enjoyment.
football every weekend.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked, like you say.
But you could also say some owners of football companies have become they've just focusing on the profit rather than just wanting to see their team succeed. Like for example, you could have a look at a team like Manchester United, like the owners there,
Yeah.
they just, and maybe not necessarily just Man United, but some teams, like for example Liverpool, I feel like the owners up until this season, I don't know if it's the owners or it was the manager, but they wouldn't really invest the money they made back into the team.
Yeah.
And I
Same
feel like
with
they just-
Leeds. Same with
Exactly.
Leeds.
I think it's
That's the best example.
Rafinha, Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Archie Gray.
Archie Gray. That's like over 100 mil.
Yeah, and
Who's that gone on?
huh?
Who's that gone on? Like,
Somerville.
like 20 million players max.
Somerville's gone, like you just sell.
Somerville as well, yeah.
They sell the talent and they don't reinvest the money that
49.
the team deserves, the fans deserve.
Repatriation of profits. The 49ers are owners just bringing it back to fucking US, bro.
Yeah.
It's commercialization, bro. It's going into shareholders' pockets.
You could also speak about the golden triangle of sport. That is the media, the actual team,
Yeah.
and then I've forgotten the actual last one, but it's an example of a model for you.
Mm.
And you could also kind of link this to an example of, it's really out the box, but Russian oligarchs, for example,
Russian what sort of?
oligarchs.
Oligarchs.
I'll give you a definition of that. That is a rich Russian businessman.
Right.
For example, Ivanovic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know that the ex-owner of Chelsea was his name Ivanovic?
Ivanovic, Roman,
Roman Ivanovic.
Abramovich.
Something like that. But because of what was going on in Russia and Ukraine,
Yeah,
the
he
government,
he had to sell.
yeah, he had to sell it. So because they think, I don't know, maybe he's reinvesting his money that's bringing in from Chelsea Football Club and giving it to Putin to
Fucking hell.
fund the war against
So
Ukraine.
could you link that to political like instability,
Yeah, I'd say
which is you could also link that to, I doubt businesses would set up in Russia
yeah,
with all the conflict.
100%.
Because like when businesses look for like MNCs,
But multinational corporations.
when they look for like a place to place their operations, they don't want like political instability.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
it could like dramatically affect like costs and demand and
That would be
Yeah.
it'd be a very undesirable trait to have with
Yeah.
the market in the market area, the geographical
Yeah.
location of where you want to develop your business.
Can I also say that I would say the betting culture has contributed massively to like the Premier League's growth.
Definitely.
And that
sponsors.
commercialization of it, when you say it's taking, it's moving away from talent and key moments and like the love of the game towards revenue and like profit maximizing. It says here that in the 2019 to 2020 season, bookmaker deals accounted for roughly 10% of total Premier League sponsorship revenue,
Yeah, I won't be surprised.
over 68 million. Because of
Wow.
like the rise of Betfred,
Yeah.
Bet365. We can list me off some more. Which
Betfair, Ladbrokes,
yeah,
Paddy Power,
yeah.
William Hill,
Rainbow Bets. Is that one of them?
I don't know, Coral,
What's Rainbow?
Rainbow.
Rainbow. Rainbow.
You can't actually get that in England, but that's just like the games.
No,
Rainbow.
It's Rainbow.
yeah, it's Rainbow.
Someone must have called it that once.
You did just then.
But it's like this. It's just like I said, love of the game's gone, and it's really sad to hear. But if we just move back onto what me and Harry were talking about about like
The Russian.
oligarchs, yeah, but it's more like the desirable aspects of a market that an MNC or a TNC would want to, use, like you'd want to look for when choosing the market, the geographical location. You could look at China, like Southeast Asian countries, which they're accused of human rights abuses to their workers. For example, they cheap labour, really long working hours, really harsh working conditions. That just shows like there's positives, obviously, like low increased profit because low labour costs.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at the
Ethical
the ethical drawbacks.
issues. Yeah. Do you know like Foxconn City?
Oh, yeah.
Shenzhen.
I think it's in the Shenzhen region.
Shenzhen region. It employs like 90,000 workers. Like the Apple source their components.
Just adding on to Foxconn, a factory in there actually
has like suicide.
yes,
rates and stuff.
multiple workers actually committed suicide due to the conditions they were forced to work in.
Yeah, I think like in the recent years, I think it's been improved with like increased regulation, but
Definitely,
because
but
like China's a place with like limited like laws and regulations. And,
no,
like,
I'd
health
say
and
they're
safety.
strict.
China.
Yeah, like the government,
people
the
choose
government regime is strict. Like
Yeah, I mean like
Chinese people are only allowed to have one child. It's like a one-child regulation
really.
to keep population low due to China having the highest population in the world.
Yeah, which is why supply of labour,
Exactly.
supply of labour, MNCs, which is why it's cheap. There's so much of it.
Exactly.
There's more people looking for a job, and they'll be willing to accept a lower wage.
And I think the Chinese government are exploiting their people for economic growth.
Yeah, because think about how much MNCs, like how much income and like local income they generate
Yeah, exactly.
in the local economy.
For the
which
Chinese government, China actually has the largest growing economy in the world, and it has the second largest.
I'm not sure if that's anymore, but
No,
definitely
it's
that high.
the fastest growing economic country's economy, and then it's also the second largest after USA.
It's because they pegged their currency to the USA.
Mm.
Can't remember when, but if you remember, so it's like constantly weaker than it. Wheat, pound, whippy deck.
Yeah,
Exports cheaper. They export so many goods because they're MNC.
and they
so
also
much production
yeah
going back to their home countries.
they've had introduced policies, and so for example the China open door policy, this was introduced in 1978.
Open door.
The China's open door policy, and this basically means that any businesses so they've also introduced special economic zones, so any businesses wanting to expand and their manufacturing to China specifically in special economic zones, decreased tariffs, decreased
So you're
taxes.
saying low barriers to entry.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what it's like a factor influencing production location, like low barriers to entry, low regulations, cheap labour. That's like the main things.
Exactly, and then obviously there's major economic positives from this, but if you look at the human rights aspect, it's really like it's just not nice to hear about what's happening to the workers.
Yeah, because like you don't see that in the UK, like labour exploitation, stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's got good laws, but
exactly, and I think China's just looking for the growth of their country over their people.
Yeah, but going back to the exports, with exports being so high and like imports are probably significantly lower, we'll have a positive like trade balance.
Yeah, 100%.
So like net trade will be positive. So that's just like economic growth. It's a government's macroeconomic objective. Like,
yeah.
Balance of payments, more money coming in than's coming out.
You're gonna say something?
Yeah, lad, I'm taken away by this article. I wanted
Does this link to what we were saying?
it doesn't link to the China thing, but it was the
So where were you?
football.
We've gone past.
Fuck me, we've been past that for
We've gone
about.
past football.
Imaginary Harry Cup. Fuck me, we've gone past that about 7 hours
Mate,
ago.
we're on about China pegging their currency.
I know, but I had to
trade.
read this out.
But you could have added
No.
something on this.
Mate, I hate to say it, but this information is vital. This
Fine.
is fucking brilliant. This
You
is
might have to
brilliant.
chop and change what we talk about
Yeah.
into the right section.
Yeah, but
This is going to be a hefty
article
editing session for you.
Well, if we could have read this article before, I'm sorry.
Well, you
includes
took
my
10 minutes to
attachment.
find it.
Lad, don't give me a hard time because I'm linking this to fucking.
All right, it better be
Gary
fucking
Gary
good.
Lineker.
Yeah.
What, the
Gary
invested
Lineker.
property?
Right, so.
Right.
Did Gary Lineker shitting himself in the 1992 World Cup change the growth in football in England?
You tell me.
It fucking did.
Really?
100%. And not like, I hate to phrase it that way, saying him shitting himself did, but the 1992 World Cup changed everything for football in England because it transitioned from being a lower class hooliganism like way of watching football to shifting it to middle class because it was the same time as Margaret Thatcher was introducing privatisation. An ID card system so that when you go to the game you get checked to see if you've actually got a ticket.
Yeah, and that decreases the chances of disasters that have occurred in stadiums due to overcrowding.
Yeah.
For example,
What, like
Hillsborough disaster between Liverpool and Sheffield United.
Yeah.
In I think it was 19. I think it was 80s or 90s even, and I think 96 people died.
Yeah. Horrible.
And it was due to a well, first of all, overcrowding and the poor structural deployment of the stadium, and the people were just crushed in a metal fence. And that also introduced the law of people, I think they have to sit down whilst watching football. and like you also said, the ID cards to
Ian
show if they
Scovey
have
was
a
at that
ticket.
one, you know.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
And do you know what an even funner fact is? Ian Scovey was actually meant to be in the standing up area,
Really.
but he snuck into the seating area with his mates.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's like Final
That's
Destination type shit.
yeah, exactly. That's just fate at the end of the day. And now he's here, and we're good mates with his
Yeah.
son was.
Trust me.
So
But yeah, going back to like we saying in that 1992 World Cup when Pavarotti, I think it was.
was it Pavarotti?
Pavarotti.
What's his first name again?
No, it was Gaza, sang Nessun Dorma because the World Cup was based in Italy.
Oh right.
You know, Nessun Dorma.
No. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
You will.
I know.
He sang that. That was the national anthem, and just putting that passion into the game. That was the furthest England have gone in the World Cup. They've got to the fourth stage.
Also, you're saying it became like a bigger,
Yeah.
bigger,
Because
England
of the
have
bigger
made it-
culture in the
because of the
country.
BBC's involvement, because of sponsorships, because of how good the players were in that team.
Right.
Gary
The
Lineker
golden
scored
generation. as
How does
some would
Gary?
say.
Yeah.
But how does this link to Gary Lineker shitting himself?
because this is when he shot himself on the pitch, the 1992 World Cup.
What you're saying?
Which was
That
actually
being
like
like
a pivotal time in England.
It's not necessarily him shitting himself. It's more the
the
time.
concept of us going so
Yeah.
far and doing well in like
Yeah.
a major tournament.
Yeah,
I mean-
and a key takeaway moment would be Gary Lineker shitting himself in terms of like what's the jokes about it.
Yeah.
It's something that's
Yeah. Like, no one remembers who he played in the quarterfinal or
Yeah,
wherever
who
they
played.
got.
You just remember him doing that.
Yeah, you just remember Gary Lineker shitting himself.
But I'll tell you what, as a fucking Irishman, it's good to hear that he shot himself in the game against Ireland.
Was it against Ireland?
Imagine being that shook.
No, it wasn't. It was because he ate something dodgy before.
Nah, it's because he was playing Ireland.
All right, bro.
That's what it says on here. Anyway. It says he was so scared of the Irishman.
That's why he liked it so much, innit? That's why he thought it was such a good article.
Oh, fucking hell, mate.
But also,
Right.
penalties became something to terrify the English after that.
Yeah, but guess who missed the penalty to send us out?
Who?
Gareth Southgate. Fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
He only lives down the road.
Oi, anyway, can we get back to what we were talking about?
Yeah, so Craig, I'd like you to start inputting on this.
Okay. That's enough research. mate.
Yeah.
China basically pegging their currencies
Yeah.
to the US dollar to make
Offering cheap labour costs policies.
to make exports cheaper, whip your deck.
Yeah.
More exports. That's what you want for economic growth.
We could move on to the USA maybe.
Yeah, we can do, but
Feel like we visited.
positive. They probably. I'm guessing China have like positive balance of payments. More money coming in with the exports
Yeah.
because they import significantly less, and that's like economic growth, as you said. Like money being injected into the economy, basically into the circular flow.
But realistically, would you want to live in China?
No, that's what we're that's what
Yeah,
we're getting
but
at. 'cause we spoke about
we're
positives.
saying it's more of a production location of
Yeah.
places like Foxconn City,
Yeah.
like massive
Yeah, the
massive
different
industries.
special economic zones.
Yeah.
So it'd been a very attractive place to
To
start manufacturing. Exactly.
But it's
Whereas
just it lacks ethical values.
Yeah, exactly. Human rights issues, all of that, and that's why I'd say that's why China is not quite yet a superpower, a global superpower. The only global superpower at the moment is the USA,
Yeah.
and this, like, don't get me wrong, they still might have human rights issues, but not only do they have the largest economy, they have different. They have strong global influence, for example, through hard power, which is not yet,
Not yet.
but
Because it's a rapidly developing economy.
yeah, exactly.
Which I would say when
It's a newly emerging economy now.
I'd say it's already emerged.
Yeah, but
it's British.
It's a high
you'd,
income
you'd,
country.
you'd expect with such a large population and like relatively poor wages, they'd have a low GDP per capita.
I'd disagree. I'd say
Which is a
China's
measure of like economic
yeah.
development.
Name bricks.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, Singapore.
South Africa.
Singapore.
South Africa or Singapore?
South Africa.
Singapore.
It's South Africa.
Bricks. Brazil, Russia.
India.
Indonesia.
India.
India.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
I remember it was
Is it
Singapore.
Singapore, bro? Let's see. Yeah, it's right. South Africa.
Is it?
Yeah.
First.
I thought you were an economist, bro.
Wait, you didn't know it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But yeah,
Has it's got good knowledge on there.
now geography. We
Yeah.
learned about that in geography.
Min, is it Mexico,
Indonesia,
Indonesia,
Nigeria,
Nigeria, Turkey?
Turkey.
So if you go and talk about Nigeria, that's a newly emerging economy.
Yeah.
That's due to it's got a very high amount of natural resources. For example, oil.
Which links to FDI. which
Exactly,
is
from-
MNCs like Shell.
Shell, spot on.
Think about how much jobs they've created.
Are there any do you have any AO2 kind of
Examples.
yeah,
I've got one of
a
them.
figure in your head?
A
What
negative.
about
I've got a
Shell?
negative.
Or Nigeria.
I've got a negative practical example of the impact of foreign direct investment in the newly emerging economies. For example, Nigeria.
Yeah.
So Shell,
Environmental damage.
yeah,
Oil
there's an
spills.
example of an environmental damage. In 2009, the Bodo oil spill.
I just said oil spill.
No, but
No.
I want that 2009 Bodo. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Saying oil spills is too vague.
So in 2009, there was a Bodo oil spill. I'm not sure quite. It was a very drastic impact on the environment. It flooded the rivers, which
Contaminated water.
exactly contaminated the waters for local fishermen,
Yeah.
which
Killed local
Yeah, that's
marine
cheap.
life.
yeah, which obviously impacted their ways of income, the food for their family, and it also Shell got sued by the local.
Yeah, fucking rightly so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They got compensation, but it's more like environmental damage.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
fixed.
However, the
Fair
thing
praise
is,
for that.
it's not always the TNC's fault. It's maybe pirates
Yeah.
that come. They try and dig into the pipelines and extract the oil from the pipelines,
Yeah.
and maybe that they've left holes in it that then leaked off into the.
Yeah.
But you could also speak about the trade around Africa, especially off the west coast of Africa. There's quite a lot of presence of pirates.
Yeah.
Somali.
Somali.
That's just a stereotype.
Yeah.
They're not always Somali.
Yeah. That's the one that comes to mind. for
But
me.
going a bit off topic, that'd be cold being a pirate.
Yeah. With your voice. I mean, I watched a cracking film last night.
Oh, it was so good. It was like the Institute of Gentlemen who, I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically World War II. Winston Churchill sent out
He's called.
this these agent mission to sink Nazi ships with loads of resources on, and it was confidential until 2016, so no one knew about it, and they made this film based on it.
Shit. Based on a true story.
Yeah, and it's basically criminals, 5 of them on this boat going over to I'm not sure what island it was off Germany, but they were meant to sink the ship. The plan went.
Could I just say, Germany's landlocked.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was an island off of Germany that had a Nazi camp on it, like a base.
Do you know what sea it was in?
No, but I can find out.
Could it have been? Do you reckon the North Sea, maybe? Craig, you're flinging vague links.
No, it's just a link with the pirate thing. Yes, the ministry.
What are you saying? Pirates
I just thought,
benefiting from the free rider effect.
wait, do we have to do the dance?
What?
Free rider effect.
Anyway, I can't remember what island it was, but they basically, instead of sinking the ship because they couldn't, because it had been reinforced. They nicked it,
Shit.
and what they did was like shut out all the lights on the island, hosted parties for the Nazis in massive warehouses, shut off the lights, killed everyone on the watchtowers, like massacred loads of them, kept all the soldiers in these locked warehouses partying. The Nazi leader was seduced by this agent woman, and then the guys who were meant to sink the ship instead just got onto it, killed everyone on it, and drove it off. So that instead of sinking it, they had all these resources.
What resources were on the ship?
Oh, fucking everything you need for war. Like, I'm guessing bare ammunition, bare, like, energy sources like carbon dioxide and fucking,
I
I
could.
don't know what else.
It's quite a long shot link, but it's kind of similar. I'm linking it to how they shut off the electricity.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to what USA have just recently done in Venezuela
Yes.
in kidnapping their the Venezuelan prime minister.
Yeah.
But basically, USA say that the Venezuelan prime minister deals drugs like cocaine, and he's moving illegal substances and illicit substances into the USA.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why Donald Trump ordered this mission to get him kidnapped and extradited to the UK for him to be USA for him to be tried.
Yeah.
But what they actually did was they strategically planned it out down to every last detail.
Yeah.
First, they sent in, I believe it was F-150 fighter jets, which are actually, due to the technology that's been improved nowadays, they're actually undetectable to radar. So they swooped in.
Yeah. Did they say they went really low?
Yeah, really low to further avoid radar detection.
Yeah.
Went in, bombed all of Venezuela's anti-aircraft missiles.
Yeah.
That was the F-150s, and then I think it may have been one or two other aircrafts flew very low to avoid detection into where the Prime Minister was.
Yeah.
To side by side this, the USA planned out to cut all the electricity off.
Yeah.
So that cut all this radars off around where the president was. Electricity was gone. It was at 2 a.m, so he's probably asleep.
Yeah.
Landed on his building, efficiently kidnapped him and his wife,
And as well.
took him back to the USA. People
mean,
woke up in the morning, realised the president was gone,
Yeah.
and
Just
yeah.
like bow down to America then.
Furthermore, just to link this, Venezuela actually has the world's largest, what's the word I'm looking for here? Population, not necessarily population, but reserves of this thing called tar sands,
Yeah.
which is actually a form of oil.
Yeah.
And it goes through a process to be refined into oil.
Yeah.
But Venezuela actually has the largest amount of this in the world, and I feel like USA using the fact that the Venezuelan president is a drug dealer and doing stuff illegal to capitalize and
On that
then
tax.
use the
Yeah.
tar sand reserves in Venezuela
Yeah.
to benefit USA.
And that's just as bad as what Shell did in Nigeria.
Exactly.
I mean, they're not
Exploiting.
kidnapping the leader. Obviously, that's a different political argument to say why that's wrong. But in terms of exploiting materials, it's just as bad as any other
Exactly.
company. So, I mean,
And that just
that's
shows
interesting, man.
with every single economic step and every single economic opportunity that TNCs, governments, people make, there is positives and there is also severe negatives as well. And that can also link to opportunity cost,
Okay.
which is basically the things that you'll miss out on when you make a decision within a business. So
We as economists, we define it as the next best alternative foregone when making a decision.
Yeah.
well,
The one thing I would critique your definition is for businesses in macroeconomics, we're saying for a country or for
exactly.
it's all for a singular person, you know.
when I go and if I cop a Red Bull, it's like the opportunity cost of me copping a Red Bull is I'm not spending £1.70 or I'm spending £1.70 on 2 pre-megs. You know what I mean?
Could be anything.
Opportunity cost and everything. If you listen to the start of episode 3 actually, it was the opportunity cost of giving to the homeless.
Mm.
And we talk about, you know, let's say you give money to the homeless, they could spend it on drugs.
They will spend it on drugs.
Or they could like
Well, it
invest in
depends.
themselves, their own human capital, and get a good job.
Or
Like what are the different ratios of that happening?
Well,
We don't know. It's hard to know.
Most people homeless are addicted to drugs.
Yeah, or you could have like indirectly given them money by investing in like welfare schemes and like improving their human capital,
yeah, or
which
just
you
having
know will benefit them.
a higher disposable income. If you're not giving money to them, if you've got higher disposable income, you spend in the local area, maybe the council will give back through that spending, which might benefit them more. But the thing we concluded was that giving to the homeless as this vague, broad topic has a multiplier effect.
Definitely.
2.4 to be exact.
Yeah, so it is beneficial to give to them.
Yeah.
Maybe not give them a couple of quid on the side of the street. What's that really going to do for
That's
them?
just going to get them crack or heroin.
It's just going to make the problem worse, really.
Exactly.
Instead, you saying like invest it.
I mean, at least it'll sort out the people dealing, like they'll get a bit more money. So
Yeah.
that's the only people really benefiting from that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the multiplier
Negative
effect
multiplier
benefiting the black market. You know what I mean?
But the 100% and just going on to that, like, I think drug dealing is actually, it's kind of like, I think it boosts the economy
Yeah,
because 100% like it's negative
yeah.
for the like quality of life and but well, it's not necessarily negative for the quality of life because sometimes it makes your life better
No, I'd say it's negative.
for the overall quality of life.
I'm saying it increases crime, increases addiction.
But it increases the spending because the drug dealers then spending it on designer clothes.
Yeah, which is like that's not a man.
Yeah, but but crime is just like crime and like stuff like that's
I'm saying
government. It's what governments like aim to.
Well, I'm saying if they want to reduce crime, they should start making lower level drugs legal.
Yeah,
And like,
I'm saying like with when you say drug dealers, they spend their money on designer clothes. As an economist, I would say that it would be beneficial if that drug dealer, let's say they make 20 grand, that's either a deposit for a house or a year of tuitions at a university, or let's say they donated that to charity.
they ain't gonna donate it to charity.
I know, but you know, imagine every drug dealer use their money to invest in a degree. How much more money do you can?
Yeah, that's the thing. When with drug dealing, obviously it's all in cash or it's not taxed.
Yeah.
So that
Government-
doesn't mean the
government don't get revenue from it.
Yeah, exactly. So if they made it legal and made government, I don't know, for example, government selling points, then that can then be reinvested back into the economy
Yeah,
rather than putting young kids who are just grown up and live into this kind of life where it's normal to do this and sell them, and it's giving them chance to have a better life, whilst not because they're not getting in trouble for it because it's legal. Whilst the money's also being reinvested back into
trust me.
improving quality of life for people in those areas that have experienced high crime rates
Because instead,
due to drug dealing.
where it's a government failure of having drugs that are illegal and you've got a black market, is that one strain on the NHS of crime, so stabbings, fucking
Overdosing.
overdosing, people like even therapy in the NHS, dealing with people who have got like schizophrenia, depression,
Withdrawal symptoms, yeah,
shit like that.
definitely.
If it was legalized and there was policies put in place,
Mm.
it'd be a much different story.
I mean, I'll just give a practical example of this, but actually in Canada, they have places in the streets where people can use drugs. Well, not in the streets, but buildings
yeah,
where people can use drugs and they won't get in
Safely.
trouble safely. Exactly. They can have people look after them, provide them with there's a jab called that people have. Do you know, like if they're overdosing?
yeah, EpiPen.
No, it's not an EpiPen. It's
No, I
some.
know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? I can't remember the name of it.
Like they've got that in the
Narcan.
Maybe no.
Yeah, that's it.
What is that? Like a method of therapy?
No, it's like a method. If
No,
someone-
like them centres where people.
Yeah. So they do it safely. Do it if they do
for like
overdose.
therapy reasons or
Not necessarily therapy reasons.
rehab maybe.
It's just for the safety because these people are going to be addicted. Would you rather them use the drug in a safe environment where they wouldn't just lose their life if they overdose, where someone can be there, they can get the Narcan and they can save them, save their lives, and maybe they finally realise, oh shit, I probably shouldn't do this drug. It's not going. It's just driving me to death, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality of drugs sometimes.
Well, on that note, I think we should conclude the episode because we've touched on so many different areas.
Fucking hell, we
Yeah.
were waffling.
We haven't been waffling, we've been spitting wisdom, I'd say. You've definitely
wisdom.
spat some wisdom, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
chill.
man.
My
You've been a
respect to
good
God
guest.
to you this episode.
Thanks, man.
So we first off started talking about what, like urbanisation.
Urbanisation,
Regeneration of
stock
places,
regeneration, multiplier effect.
Yeah.
Then we moved.
We moved into football.
Yeah, we got like the factories.
Went on some tangents, but we
I
made it back.
want to wrap the football chat up into saying Gary Lineker shitting himself did cause growth for the UK.
What about when Tony Boa signed for Leeds and scored loads of goals?
Scored against Liverpool then.
Yeah, how does that feel like?
But yeah, no. And then we talked about then we talked about desirable aspects where businesses want to incorporate into the market.
Yeah.
Conflict, Russian oligarchs. Then we moved to China.
China production location, pros and cons of it being like such a industrial country.
Then we moved to a little tangent on
The-
the German cutting
Oh,
their
yeah,
electricity.
Shout
Then
out
I
to that
moved.
film.
Then I moved on to Venezuela,
Yeah.
and then we moved on to USA. Then we moved on to drug dealing, and then we moved on to drugs becoming legal, and then
like homelessness, giving them to
Homelessness,
yeah.
homeless, opportunity cost.
Yeah.
So I think we covered a lot of things.
what even is the title of that, for fuck's sake?
You'll see when the video's uploaded. But absolutely cracking.
Great,
Absolutely cracking.
mate. Absolutely pleasure to be on. Thanks, mate.
Pleasure.
Pleasure to be on. Thanks, mate.
Right.
Peace out, guys.